Ever noticed how some people look wealthy even when they're wearing a plain t-shirt and $30 sneakers? Meanwhile, others spend thousands on flashy brands, but still come off as trying too hard. So what's the difference? It's not the clothes. It's 3 mindset shifts that quietly signal status without saying a word. And once you learn them, you'll never look at your closet the same way again. You've probably crossed paths with someone who looked undeniably expensive, yet not a single brand logo in sight. No flashy watch begging for attention. No dripping designer labels shouting their worth. Just a simple coat, a calm face, and a presence that somehow made you wonder, who are they? That's the paradox most people never crack. Real wealth, the kind that lingers in silence, rarely advertises itself. It's easy to think money talks the loudest, but true refinement whispers so quietly that only those who know notice. Think about this. 2 people walk past you on the street. One draped in big logos, the other in plain jeans and a soft beige sweater. One tries to prove status, the other radiates it without trying. You might assume it's about money, about having the funds to pick better fabrics or tailor every sleeve. But there's an invisible layer to this that most overlook, and it's exactly what separates quiet wealth from loud pretense. I'll get to that in a second. Stay with me, because once you understand this silent code, you'll see the world differently, and you might realize that looking expensive has less to do with your wallet, and more to do with the way you carry secrets the rest of the world doesn't even know to look for. Jake and Mike could be your neighbors, co-workers, or the 2 strangers standing behind you at a coffee shop. They earn roughly the same, around $60,000 a year. Both pay rent, handle bills, and sometimes splurge on weekends. But when they walk into a room, you feel it immediately. Jake blends into luxury without saying a word. Mike, on the other hand, tries so hard you almost feel embarrassed for him. Same paycheck, same city, completely different presence. Jake wears basics, a plain navy jacket, shoes that never squeak, a watch with no diamonds but a history. Mike, logos fighting for space on his hoodie, a belt with a brand bigger than his rent, sneakers he financed on a credit card he can barely pay. On paper, you'd think Mike looks richer, but watch how people glance at Jake once, then twice. There's a question lingering in their heads. Who is he really? That quiet gap is what money can't buy. Here's the part most miss. It's not about buying less or hiding your taste. It's about what Jake knows and Mike doesn't. One mastered the invisible signals of old money posture, quiet choices, clean lines. The other is stuck proving himself to people who stopped watching after the first shout of a logo. But there's one deeper twist in Jake's story most would never guess, and it's exactly what we'll uncover next. Most people think looking expensive is a game of stacking visible wealth. Big watch, bold logos, branded bags screaming at every passing stranger. It's easy to assume the louder you show, the more respect you command. But here's the catch. True wealth, old money, generational money, learned long ago that the moment you have to shout your status, you've already lost part of it. Jake gets this instinctively. Mike keeps missing it. Consider this. When you see someone flaunting a giant designer belt buckle or a logo-patterned shirt, you instantly know exactly what they paid for. The mystery dies the second you read the name. But when someone walks by in a plain wool coat, clean shoes, and a posture that holds the room, your mind starts guessing. That guessing is power. It plants the idea that they have nothing to prove because they've seen more than you imagine. There's a reason Warren Buffett wears the same style suits and drives an ordinary car, despite billions in the bank. It's not frugality, it's quiet leverage. He knows money works better in silence. But there's a layer deeper than just ditching flashy brands. The real signal is how you carry the subtle details, the invisible polish no receipt can buy. And that's where Jake leaves Mike in the dust every single day. We'll break that down next. If you stripped Jake and Mike of everything branded, left them standing in plain tees and simple shoes, Jake would still look like he owns the room. That's because quiet wealth hides in small, disciplined choices, not big visible splurges. Most people think elegance comes with money. In reality, money can buy you expensive clothes, but it can't buy the way you move, the way you react when someone tests your patience, or the way you stand in silence when everyone else scrambles for approval. Let's break it down. First, the face. Jake never flinches. Passive-aggressive comment. A rude barista? He doesn't wear stress on his forehead. He learned the calm face long before he could afford nice shoes. Then, the body. Deliberate movement, clean gestures. He folds his coat, not throws it over a chair. His bag stays structured, never slouched in a corner like a cheap afterthought. He understands posture is free, but its impact is priceless. Colors, subdued neutrals, cream, charcoal, navy tones that don't fight for attention. Fit, tailored enough to look custom, simple enough to look timeless. Even his shoes tell a story, polished but never new money shiny. These choices aren't random. They signal composure without screaming for it, but there's an element behind all this discipline. One thing Jake does daily, that even his closest friends barely notice, and it's the real reason he always looks a step above. That part comes next. Side by side, Jake and Mike paint a lesson most people refuse to learn. Mike walks in with his brand new logo hoodie and flashy belt buckle. He believes they're shields, proof he belongs. But watch him closer, fidgeting with his sleeves, adjusting his bag that keeps slipping off his shoulder, tapping his foot because deep down, he's performing more than existing. All that noise draws glances, but not respect. Jake, meanwhile, wears a plain blazer that fits like it was made for him, clean jeans, and shoes that hold shape year after year. He moves slowly, not because he's lazy, but because haste kills presence. When he speaks, he doesn't fill every silence. He lets quiet moments stretch until people lean in. This isn't arrogance. It's an old rule. The less you try to prove, the more you prove without trying. Here's the twist that breaks Mike every time. He spends more than Jake does on clothes. Mike's bank statement bleeds interest charges on impulse buys and brand drops. Jake invests that same money tailoring simple pieces, repairing what matters, and polishing what most ignore. But the sharpest difference isn't the money or the brands, it's what Jake never says out loud. The layer of discretion woven into every look and word. And if you miss this final piece, the rest is just fabric. Let's get into that now. Here's where most people fail, even if they master the clean lines, perfect fit, and calm posture. Jake understands that looking expensive is not just how you dress, but how much of yourself you hold back. He never dumps his entire life story at a dinner table. He doesn't brag about his salary or name drop every vacation. There's always an unanswered question hanging around him, and that silence does more than any watch or tailored coat ever could. Think of it this way. Old wealth has mastered the art of being politely vague. It's the neighbor who drives a 10-year-old Lexus, but quietly owns for rental properties. It's the woman who never shows the brand of her handbag yet tips better than the guy flashing his credit limit. Discretion builds curiosity. Curiosity builds respect. And respect, once earned through mystery, sticks longer than any status symbol. But a discretion is not secrecy born from fear. It's control born from confidence. Jake could tell you where he works, how much he earns, the investments he's growing quietly, but he doesn't need to. He lets his presence answer enough. Mike, on the other hand, fills every gap with words, desperate to be understood, terrified of being underestimated. And that's why, no matter how many new labels Mike buys, he never owns the quiet power Jake does. Holding back is uncomfortable for people used to oversharing to fill awkward silences. But if you can practice letting a question float unanswered, you start training the same muscle Jake uses daily. And when paired with what I'll give you next, a concrete way to build these habits step by step, you'll understand why some look rich even in plain clothes. Let's make this practical now. By now, you see that quiet wealth isn't accidental. It's crafted through habits so ordinary they look invisible until you compare Jake's world with Mike's chaos. So here's how you start closing that gap, no matter what you earn or where you live. First, control your reactions. Next time someone tests your patience, wrong order, passive dig, pointless gossip, hold your face steady. Smile if you must, but never flinch. One unbothered glance signals more authority than 10 loud retorts. Second, master your walk. Most people rush like they're late for a train they'll never catch. Slow down by 10%. Shoulders back, chin neutral. This small shift changes how you read before you even say hello. Third, strip your colors back to basics for now. Creams, navy, soft grays, tones that whisper rather than shout. One well-fitted beige coat outclasses a closet full of flashy jackets that wrinkle by lunchtime. Fourth, tailor something. Not everything at once, just one piece. Maybe it's your best jeans, or that blazer that almost fits. A $60 tailoring bill beats a $600 jacket that hangs like regret. Fifth, audit your maintenance. Wipe your shoes after every wear. Keep your nails clean and your collars spotless. People notice these tiny things more than they admit, and they add up to a picture that says, I respect what I own. Sixth, speak carefully. Next time you feel like explaining your weekend plans, your job title, your next big move, pause. Say less than you know. Watch how people lean in when you leave quiet gaps. This isn't magic. It's discipline wrapped in subtlety. But discipline alone doesn't hold forever if you don't anchor it to something bigger. In a moment, we'll close this with one truth that ties it all together and keeps you from drifting back into noise. Wait for it. Jake didn't stumble into this version of himself overnight. He didn't win a lottery or inherit a trust fund that taught him discretion by default. He built quiet refinement piece by piece, one calm reaction, one tailored sleeve, one paused story at a time. Most people think they need more money first, then they'll act like they belong. But the truth is, belonging starts before the money ever shows up. Think back to Mike. He's not a villain. He's just tired of being overlooked. So he buys noise, mistaking attention for respect. Maybe you've done the same, crammed your closet with statements louder than your own presence. But here's the relief. You don't need to keep paying for validation that fades after one glance. Start where Jake did. Protect your posture. Respect your clothes, no matter how plain. Hold some of your life back from strangers who haven't earned your details. And above all, remember this. Looking expensive has little to do with price tags and everything to do with the discipline to keep parts of yourself unbought and unseen. If you made it to this point, you already stand apart from most. Use what you learned tonight before your next coffee run, your next meeting, your next quiet room that begs for loud proof of status. Let your silence do what noise never could. And if someone in your life keeps mistaking volume for value, share this with them before they waste another paycheck trying to look like what they never took the time to become. One day, Jake and Mike will stand side by side at a reunion, a party, or a casual dinner. Mike will still be performing, draped in new trends, louder than last season but just as fragile underneath. Jake will stand quietly, in clothes no one can price but everyone respects. And the difference won't be the money they spent. It'll be the calm they built in private long before anyone cared to notice. This entire idea, looking rich in plain clothes, isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about finally realizing you never needed the noise to prove you matter. Master your reactions. Tailor your basics. Walk slower than the chaos around you. And speak less than you know. You stayed until the end. That alone makes you different. Now, live like you already belong wherever you stand. Someone you'll never meet needed to hear this too. Pass it on before they waste another year chasing the wrong applause. Quiet wealth is built. Start building yours today.